So what's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the JeffMan316 Pop Culture Reporter channel. I'm your host, as always, JeffMan316. And we got Easter, the holiday, coming up. And even if you don't support that, you can support horror, right? Like on this channel. And what are we going to do to support it? We're going to talk about two movies here in this video. Just like I did two movies at St. Patrick's Day, two horror movies for Easter. Easter Bunny Massacre. It's got to be a classic, right? And if it's not, hey, how about Easter Bunny Massacre, The Bloody Trail? Yeah, we got both movies that we're going to talk about in this review. So, yeah, two for the price of one. I was looking at these movies, and let's just say a good description, if you want to know, before we get into the review, would be scream if you know what I did last Easter. Why do I say that? Watch the review, or the reviews, if you want to call it that, and you'll find out for both of these Easter classics. Yes, are both of these excellent?
Excellent.
Yeah, or are they a bunch of rotten eggs?
Excellent.
Yeah, I already said excellent. Yeah, excellent, just like Mr. Burns says. So let's get into both Easter Bunny Massacre movies. What are we waiting for? Let's go. So we're going to start with the Easter Bunny Massacre, this camp classic here. So, you know, like usually for horror movies, we like things like good kills, some funny puns in a movie like this, some hot chicks, some nudity if we're lucky. So I'm going to let you know if you get any of that. So yeah, the reason that I said what I did at the beginning of Scream, if you know what I did last Easter, was because these movies kind of rip off some classic movies of the genre. This movie, you may have heard of it before, and it might not have been this. I think this was made in the UK, if I'm not mistaken, but it might have been called Easter Killings or Easter Killing, either one. I'm not going to go look it up. It's not worth it. But yeah, they rebranded it Easter Bunny Massacre. I got this in Walmart. This is currently available on Tubi, and you can watch it there. So I will say that the movie, the killer in it, that looks kind of cool, right? Got a chainsaw on there. Yeah, that looks nothing like the killer in the movie. So he doesn't wear a mask like that. You don't get any cool, is that an eyeball on there? I don't know. Yeah, the cover, let's just say, way cooler than the movie itself. So the movie starts just like I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm not going to spoil it, but something happens to a group of friends, young people. I think they're even talking about being in high school. These kids look like they're like mid-20s, approaching 30 years old, especially some of the girls. Now, I will say in this movie, the girls are a little bit hot. They got some pretty cute girls in this movie, in the cast. They do a good job of picking up. The women actually are pretty decent with the acting as well. The men, on the other hand, are terrible. A lot of them look like they're just reading lines right off of a page. Not a lot of charisma, not a lot of good acting skills there. So, as far as this goes, it starts out with just like I Know What You Did Last Summer, where something happened in this group of kids. Something happens, they try to cover it up, and nobody knows about it. Time passed. They get together for an Easter holiday. I will say in this one, the mask, even though it doesn't look like this on the cover, it is pretty cool. It doesn't look that bad. The person doesn't wear a full-on Easter suit like in that. In this movie, it's more of a head that comes down and covers up part of their shoulders. I really think that looks a little bit more menacing. The person walking around in this kind of does look, menacing. The mask has got a little dirt, dingy, some blood stains, that kind of stuff on it, so it looks dirty. So I like that concept. It looks decent, even though it doesn't look like the cover. I wouldn't even say what triggers this story is even that decent as far as horror related, as far as a quote-unquote kill. And nothing of interest even happens in this movie until you're like 30 minutes in. So there's one of the problems. It is very boring. The production value is pretty decent, and it looks good for a DVD. I didn't have any problem with the picture, the sound, everything is pretty high for, you know, a low quality movie that's on DVD. So here's a lot of what's wrong with this movie, and there's a lot. So you get no cool puns that are related to Easter bunnies or Easter or any of that kind of stuff. So there's no humor. This movie tries to take itself seriously, and I think it would have done a lot better if it approached itself like the Leprechaun movies I reviewed, where it had a little bit of fun, a little bit of not just a straight up slasher movie. If they had done something in it related to Easter, other than it being Easter when they gather together and Easter decorations around, and in him wearing a bunny mask, there's really nothing related to Easter thrown in as far as puns or jokes or any of that kind of stuff. That's a very big lost opportunity. You could have done a lot with that concept. Secondly, there's a couple scenes in it where the score is like way too loud and you can barely even hear the people in it. So I think they did a bad job there. Now, like I said, it looks good and it sounds good for most of the movie, but there's a couple parts that had a problem with the sound where the actors are actually muffled because of the loud score that was playing over top of them. So some funny things in this movie that weren't supposed to be funny is when somebody was being chased by the bunny killer, they actually, do the trope where they're running, the female is, and they trip. But literally, they maybe take 2 steps and there's nothing to trip over and there's no reason for them to fall. And it's almost like, hey, I'm going to fall like gently and lay here so you can come over and try to kill me. That was ridiculous. So another couple things that I mentioned early on about the make good horror movies, whether it be B movies or not, is, like I said, it doesn't have enough fun with it, but the kills are not very memorable in this. They're actually kind of weak. I don't even remember any of them. Like, at least the Leprechaun movie had a couple of decent kills. This one has nothing that's of memorable. Also, speaking of not being memorable, like I said, there's some really good looking women in this movie. 3 or 4 of them are really good looking, but you know what the bad part about it is?
No titties! No titties!
Like I said, everything that makes a horror movie great is missing in this. The last problem is the twist is pretty easy to deter. You can see it coming, and it's not very interesting at all. And it makes you think, though, that there could be another movie, right? Speaking of the other movie, we'll talk about the sequel. That's the first negative about this thing right off the bat. The 2 movies don't link together. The only thing that links them together is that they are Easter themed. There's a killer in this one, even though the masks match up. You see the difference there? Here's one of the problems I got. You see how bright and shiny that is? You see how dingy, kind of like a filter over that? The whole movie is that way. The first scene in this movie, which is a blatant ripoff of Scream, to me looks so washed out, it was almost hard to watch.
Oh, what's that? Jesus fucking Christ. It smells like a bad meat.
So much for these eggs.
So the production value of the first one, good. The production value of this one, not so good. They put some kind of filter over the video, and I hated it. It's through most of the movie, but it looks terrible in the first scene. I don't know what's going on with that. But speaking of the first scene, the first one was a ripoff of I Know What You Did Last Summer. This one, the first scene, is a ripoff of Scream.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes?
How are you doing tonight?
Who's this?
Am I speaking to the right person?
I think you got the wrong number, dude.
I was hoping that it might be like the Leprechaun movie where the second one was a slight improvement over the first one. No, everything about this second one is worse. If you're going to watch one of these, watch the first one. So what else is wrong with this one? Basically everything that was wrong with the first one. There's very few kills that are any good. The one kill that I remember was using a plastic knife that you can literally see the seam down the middle of the knife. It's exactly like the plastic one that I bought to use in a video. Then on top of that, when it's used, there's no blood. There's very little blood. You see blood splatter on things that happen off camera, but people actually get their throat slit in this movie and there's no blood. Now, I'm not going to spoil who that is or why that is, but let's just say you're not going to get any good kills in this. I could not tell you but maybe one kill towards the end that I really remember. Everything else is so boring that it's ridiculous. Then it also has the same issue. The chicks in this one aren't quite as hot, but there's no nudity in this one as well.
No titties! No titties!
So no good kills, no fun puns. I'm a poet and didn't know it. And hot chicks, but with no nudity. What the fuck are you making over there in the UK, man? Do you not know the formula? If you're not doing any of that and you're taking the movie seriously and you're not having fun with it, then what's the point? Like I said, at least the Leprechaun movies at least had fun and that they were cheesy. These things act like that that there's some serious motion pictures here with some great acting in it. I will say, like I said, the mask in this one, I don't like it as much, and it's a full suit, so it really looks silly. It's almost like somebody going around in their onesie, like Ralphie in A Christmas Story.
Oh.
He looks like a deranged Easter bunny.
So later in the movie, one of the things that was funny in this one that shouldn't have been funny was when they were trying to do to talk and disguise their voice. I swear they used the damn voice changer that they used in that Leprechaun movie. That bunny, the person in the suit, sounded exactly like the person in that movie, and it was so difficult to understand because of their thick accent and the voice changer. It was terrible, so terrible it was funny, and it shouldn't have been.
Well, you wouldn't believe it.
I think if you watch this one, it's also available on Tubi. You might even get a title card at the end that calls this Easter Killing 2. So like I said, blatant Scream ripoff that does nothing with the premise.
It stinks.
So yeah, man, I was hoping I was going to have some fun with these. Based on these covers, we should have. I apologize. Like, I know that there has to be better Easter movies out there. And if there are, hey man, I'm all ears. Yeah, put some titles down below. I'm aware that there's a Bunny Man series of movies. Bunny Man, I think Bunny Man Massacre, Bunny Man Vengeance. And I think I actually own some of those on Blu-ray. I should have picked those. These movies are hot garbage. The best thing about these are the covers. Don't waste your money on the DVDs. And please, if you watch them, watch the first one on Tubi. And you can skip the second one altogether. So, yeah, everything that I was hoping that would be involved in these movies was not. So, have you seen either one of these movies? If so, put some comments down below and let me know whether you liked them, whether you didn't like them, what you did like. I find it hard to believe that you're going to find something that you liked about them. Maybe I'm being too harsh of a critic, but I love B-rated horror movies, schlock cinema, as they call it. I bought a lot of those Wild Eye releasing titles during their sale, the MVD shop sale. Those movies, most of them are fun, and they've got a lot of blood, a lot of boobs, all the cool things that make horror movies a treat to watch. So, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, share to all my videos. Hit the notification bell on your way out the door. You'll know when I post new videos. And hopefully we can find something better next time. And instead of an Easter egg hunt, we'll go on a movie hunt and find something better next year. If I'm still doing reviews on the channel, maybe I'll do the Bunny Man Massacre movies next year for review. So until next time, boys and girls, this has been JeffMan316, your pop culture reporter. I'm signing out saying you guys be safe out there.